No, of course. We're recording. We're live. We're
So
it. We're
this,
we're
so the
there,
reason,
baby.
the reason I asked you to press record is because
Yes.
I feel that this program
Yes.
during the month of Ramadan is in some
Yeah.
sort of holding pattern. It's the
Yes.
cigar program without cigars. It's like a uh, um, what do you call a group of planes? A squadron of planes
Right.
waiting to land at Heathrow Airport, and that are being
Like yesterday.
that are being rerouted everywhere.
Correct. That is very true.
That's what it feels like.
That is.
It's like
It does.
stay at the outer marker. That's a sort of Die Hard 2 reference.
I
Um,
was actually talking to a friend of mine last night, and he said, "I have a question." He goes, "When are you going to start smoking cigars again on the show?" I go, "April." He's like, "I said the first Saturday in April, we're going to smoke cigars again, and Usman will be back because Usman's breaking um, fast or feast or whatever right now and sacrificing virgins. So I'm very excited about that. So
So
yeah,
no,
so
no,
he'll
I
be
think
back.
he does that in about an hour. You know, the reason why this show actually, you know what, you get away with quite a lot, Stephen.
I do.
The reason why this show is slightly earlier is because my recollection is not maybe the last show, the show you had a meeting which you conveniently reconfigured, and so we did this show slightly earlier.
And well, this is the normal time we do the show
No, it
in
isn't. It's
in
normally
the
1 o'clock London
no,
time.
no. In the US, we had the time change. So because of the time change, this is our normal
Oh,
show time.
of course, of
So
course. The
that's
world
why.
sets its clock to the US. No, it
Here
doesn't.
we go.
The
Here we
world
go.
always set its clock
By
to
GMT.
Greenwich Mean Time,
Yeah, GMT. That's what I just said. Yeah, I know that.
GMT, which
Yeah.
is London,
Here we go.
capital city. And okay, so I slag off London quite a lot, right? Yeah, but having
Have
said
you ever
that,
been to GMT? Have you ever been to the line? Have you ever been to the GMT line?
I did visit as a school child. It would have been
You visited a school
approximately.
child? That's illegal. Just so you're aware, you can't.
Well, that too. But I would have probably been there once in my life around 1984, 85, 86, that kind of
I,
something.
I was there, and I thought that I have a picture of it somewhere, and I think that's really cool. So when people go GMT time, I go, I was there. Greenwich Mean Time, I was there. So yeah, I relate to it. But yeah, so
Grant,
go ahead.
go on,
No, no,
go
I
on.
said the reason we changed the time isn't really changed. It's still, if you will, 7 a.m. where I am. It's just no one else changes their time because we're a stupid country and we do that. So when Usman comes back, we'll have to readjust for whatever. But the fans expect us at this time, I think. I don't know. And then we rebroadcast the shows now on Sunday because the people from Ramadan, um, and Usman was telling me we have nothing
That's
to
it.
do.
That's the
Yeah,
elephant in the room. The elephant in the
yeah.
room is that we're not smoking
Ramadan.
cigars. We're
Yeah.
we're not smoking. Well, I'm not smoking right now primarily because at this current moment in the day I'm
Yeah.
fasting, so i'm not
Yes.
i'm not i'm not
Nothing
drinking
touches
anything,
the
not eating
lips.
anything,
Right.
right? So you're not smoking
Right.
out of sympathy and practicality.
No, out of respect, because I don't think it's fair for me to
i
light up a cigar and have a scotch with Usman was here and you're here,
i
but just
feel
you
you
because that's why.
I feel you have misunderstood the rules of this game.
I know what the rules are.
When if this was Monopoly, if this was
Yeah.
Monopoly or another board game that intelligent people used to play
Oh
in a
God, here we go.
bygone age, yeah,
Yes.
right. There were rules of the game, and the rules are that if we're going to exist in this game of sinning and plus points and it's this is like if you want to be because if you want to talk philosophy, right, which we can perfectly. The whole point of smoking cigar, well, the whole point of smoking cigars was to get in on a high and then sort of like,
Right.
be at one with the universe and see
Sure.
God, right? So there might as well be a
I'm
philosophical
right
show,
here,
right?
so
And
it's
if we're
easy.
going to indulge in this thing of earning points, because at the end of
Hmm.
the day, you really hope, I mean, at the back of your mind, I mean,
Right.
really, really far at the back of your mind, yeah, you really hope
Yeah.
you're earning some points somewhere in the universe and that those
No.
points are going to accrue up and what, no matter what religion you're from or what background
Right.
or no religion,
Right.
you
Right.
feel that you are contributing to the universe and there'll be some comeuppance, if you know what
Okay.
I mean,
Sure.
right? So in this point system, if you were smoking cigars
Yeah.
and partaking of illicit
Scotch.
alcohol, etc., 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 and I'm not, and I'm watching,
Yeah.
actually in some way I'm kind of abstaining, I'm
Yeah.
increasing the peace internally.
Mm.
It is a bit like Muhammad Ali taking a beating from the dearly departed George Foreman
Foreman, who
on the
just died
sofa,
this morning.
who
Yeah.
just died. That actually, did you like the way
I like that. Look at
I
that. Look at you. Oh,
segued
yeah.
that one in,
I
right?
know.
So it's
Yeah.
like me leaning back, taking the punches, taking the punches, taking the punches, and when
Yeah.
they're ready, I come out with the big cigars straight afterwards.
Yeah. Well, that would be April, the first show in April. Usman will be back. In fact, I did text him and go, Usman, we missed the Habano histories because everyone's asking for it. And he says, if I have time, because I'm too weak and thimble, I'm like a little girl because of Ramadan. I can't lift my phone up. And I was like,
I
oh,
spoke
I
to him
feel bad for
yesterday.
you.
I spoke to
Okay.
him very briefly yesterday. He was having dinner and cigars with
Of course.
friends.
Of course he was. Because he only has this 4 hour window now. He can't do anything but like fast, smoke cigars, and go to bed. So
Well,
we're
to
not going to have
anyone
it
to
about history till April.
so to anyone who's in this particular philosophy, this way of living, the Islamic tradition or way or philosophy, however you take it, however,
Oh, yeah.
if you are fasting, and especially fasting in these like northern hemisphere in places like the United Kingdom,
Right.
actually, in practical terms, if you're doing it properly in practical terms, after you break your fast, you really don't feel like eating food for the next 6 hours because
Right.
you may not even be gorging yourself, but over a period of time, over these sort of 30 days, yeah,
Yeah.
physically your stomach shrinks. So yesterday,
Hmm.
I had a sleep coma yesterday. I
Oh
had
God.
so for the past 2 to 3 nights, I've been eating something that I've recently rediscovered: fish cakes. I've just realized
Ooh.
how much I like fish, good fish cakes, that is,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. Right.
With
Right.
like smoked haddock, etc., etc.
Sure.
And yesterday I had one more fish cake, which resulted in me being totally comatose. I was going to go see a friend of mine. No, honestly, I couldn't move. Like for an hour, I was just sitting on a sofa, wondering. For an hour, I was sitting
Yeah.
there thinking, should I get up or should I sleep?
Yeah.
And in between of those two thoughts, I did
Yeah.
neither.
Yeah. Because you're out of it. Yeah.
And I guess that is where God exists, because at that point, if you are at
Mhm.
one with the universe, it's there because you're really not thinking of anything. You
That
know
is true.
that joke. Well, it's not a joke; it's a meme kind of thing. You know, when the woman asks her husband or boyfriend, "What are you thinking?"
Mm.
and the husband says, "Nothing."
Right. Hmm.
It's like, well, there's nothing going on in our brains really, and it's at
Right.
that time you realize really nothing is going on in your brain.
Yeah. Because you're comatose. I did. So in the afternoons, I go out and I have a cigar, but I'm just because I'm not Islam and I'm not doing Ramadan. That's my afternoon. And in the mornings on Saturday, I do look forward to my cigars and scotch with you guys, but out of respect, I figured that a big part of our audience is from the Middle East. And I know that because during Ramadan, there's not a lot of questions. There's not a lot of stuff on the live, but then on the rebroadcasting, everybody's there. So it's kind of like I know
No, I
they
mean,
watch it out of respect.
it's
I don't do it.
really really nice of you, but there is I mean, no one's putting a gun to your head. Do what you want to do,
I know, but see,
uh
I'm old
i'm
school. So it's
I'm
the
not one
same
of those
thing.
Muslims that would put a gun to your
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you so little.
head.
But no, so to me, it's one of those, it's an old school thing. It's like, listen, my mates can't do it. I can be with you. And then later this afternoon, I can have as many scotches and cigars as I want. And then I don't feel guilty. It's the Jewish thing. It's a Jewish guilt thing. I can't it's like my guys can't smoke. I can't like, so it's sympathy.
You are a true BOTL, hashtag BOTL, brother of the leaf, which is
There you go.
that casual fraternity, global
Yes.
fraternity of I won't even say like-minded, but there is this sort of unwritten rule of conviviality,
Hmm.
that is pretty much in my opinion, it's just a humble opinion.
Sure.
It's for
Because you're humble. Yeah.
intelligent people, right? Now, not to say that I'm intelligent,
Right.
but let me I think I'll recycle a quote of a few weeks ago.
Sure.
Dumb people do not have the intelligence to know that they're dumb.
John Cleese said that. From there's a
There you
professor
go.
that he knows that John Cleese is the one who said that. Yeah.
And I believe it was Plato who said something like, "I know I'm intelligent because I know nothing." So that's on the
Yeah.
reverse side. So
Yeah.
I'm intelligent enough to know that there's so many gaps, or
But you
there's
don't
infinite
know.
number of gaps that I haven't got a clue about. And
Yes.
talking of that, and actually, the cigar smoking and the cigar. I did smoke a fine cigar yesterday evening, by the way.
Okay.
I
What'd you
smoked.
smoke?
And here's the band. Here's the band to prove it.
Ooh, let's get the thing.
I had a Juan Lopez. I can't remember the
Ooh,
name of this
yes.
Vitola. Hang on.
Hey,
This is
while
what I
you
was smoking on.
before you start going into it, we need to do the legal thing here. So hold on one second. There's the cigar band that he smoked, everybody. And for you guys on the podcast or for you guys on YouTube,
I
here
haven't
you
finished.
go.
Haven't finished. No,
Oh,
haven't
there's
finished.
another
Haven't
one.
finished.
Okay.
Haven't finished. It
All
was a
right.
regional edition. It was an exclusive
Oh,
Franca.
excuse us. Oh, look at
Double
Mr.
back.
Hottie, Mr. Hoity Toity. Wait on, hold that thought.
This is True OF Entertainment.
Oh, not this show
Welcome
again.
to Habanos Saturday, the fastest growing cigar show on YouTube with over 100,000 subscribers. Come join us every Saturday live.
And recorded.
Every Saturday live.
There you go. That's really good.
And by
And
the
that
way,
we
there's
already,
the proof. There is the ugly
uh,
proof of,
let's
and
look
you
at
can
it.
see the ring gauge on that. I think that's a 54, 56
That's a
ring
big
gauge.
guy. Sure.
Now that is normally, even
Hmm.
though actually that's a little bit. Normally, that's my morning kind of pickup. Like, look what
Yeah.
I found in the ashtray from the night before. You
Right,
know,
right.
I'm
Sounds
that
wrong.
cheap.
Okay.
Well,
Hmm.
uh, each to their own. Each to
That's
their
true.
own.
That's true.
You have nerds and monkeys who masquerade as billionaires, and then you have humble folks such as
Oh
you and
my
I.
God.
Um,
I love it.
Fucking
Hey,
monkeys, all of them.
talking about monkeys and your two favorite people, apparently, did you see the article in The Economist that said that Trump and Elon Musk remind everybody the Chinese are saying, no, it's like Mao and his wife, Cultural
I haven't seen.
Revolution.
It, I say this with a great deal of shame. I haven't read The Economist for a while.
Really? Nice pictures. If you have crayons, you can color in the lines. But yeah, it was a very interesting article. Today in the Financial Times, they were talking about not cigars, but alcohol is about to have its cigarette moment because people are drinking less. And plus, with tariffs, they're going to go up. So I'm waiting for cigars to have that moment as well. So
Oh, just people.
I know.
Listen, this you can make this my mantra. Yeah, right. I'm of the firm belief that everyone just makes rules up as they go along,
Oh, I agree.
and I'm increasingly reading about basically the world being run by nerds,
Hmm.
basically very rich nerds who really
Sure.
got bullied at school and really don't know how to manage power. They just like,
Yeah.
"Ugh," you know what I
Right.
mean, right? And when it comes to someone like Elon Musk, right, is basically a sort of an immature child running the world,
Hmm.
if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be kind.
Why?
I'm not normally a very outspoken person, but in
Yeah, I know you're
this
very
situation,
quiet. So
very quiet.
yeah,
But the thing is this, so why say these things out loudly, right? Someone might say, listen, you got nothing good to say, don't say anything. I don't believe in this. I believe that you should call out a fool for a fool. Otherwise,
I
everyone
agree.
will think he's an intelligent person, or he or
I agree.
she, or whoever it may be. Yeah. There is
Hmm.
no the voice of reason. Forget intelligence. Forget uh, the voice of reason, which I will always constantly try and tie this in with this cigar smoking thing. Even though we're not smoking cigars, I would like
Right.
to think that we're talking as if we were holding a cigar, and you become a bit more
Right.
philosophical and a bit more contemplative. Reason is something that has vanished. People do not talk reason
Mm,
anymore. They just talk about what you can get, what I can get, the art of the
right.
fucking deal, etc., etc., etc. How can you benefit, and then the how can I benefit? Forget all those things.
Yeah.
How about what's right and what's wrong? How about that for a change?
How about an original thought? People
How
are
about an
followers, they're
original
ostriches.
thought?
Yeah. No,
Very
I
good.
agree with that. I don't think people understand what's right and what's wrong. Also, the FT, yeah, last night I was reading, they were talking about Donald Trump and how he's literally pushing to see how the legal side of the government is going to handle him. Um, and it's very interesting. I know this week Roberts stood up to him and said, like, no, we don't impeach judges and blah blah. So he's really doing things. One of the senators also said, "Hey, is he a Russian asset?" He asked one of Trump's nominees that. And he said, because everything he's doing is pushing us toward like things Russia would love. And China right now has got to be sitting back, laughing their butts off.
Yeah,
Going,
I no, but
so,
I think, I don't know if you agree with me. Yeah, one of the good things, one of the consequences of the world that we live in today, full of these hyper billionaires, let's call them
right.
hyper billionaires, hyper powerful, hyper powerful people. When I say hyper powerful, people who can have someone killed like that
Right.
without a thought. Yeah, I mean these things happened before, but now it's kind of one of the consequences is, in a good way, that the limits of rationality are being tested.
Hmm.
Um, I think so. I was with a good friend of mine yesterday evening, and we were having this conversation, which we always bring up because it invokes nostalgia,
Right.
and but it gives relevance. We keep saying that we're privileged and lucky enough that we lived as teenagers through the best decade of human existence,
Which was
which was the 80s, I would have said. Right
okay.
now, you might say the 70s. The 80s was like I was basically the 80s. I did my all my teenage years through the 80s,
Okay.
and whether it was music, whether it was travel, whether it was technology, whether it was whatever you could say was basically in my head at the peak level in the 80s. Movies, whatever.
Right.
I feel that for since the 60s, since you guys were the sort of the flower power generation,
And you,
etc.,
just so we're
etc.
clear, when you say I was born in the year 60,
Well, in the
BC
60s, in the
BCE. Yeah.
60s,
So
in
that's what
the
I say. So
60s.
60 BCE, just so we're clear, not 1960, just the year 60 BCE. So let's just
I
make sure that,
feel I
yeah,
feel that the world became
yeah,
very complacent. The world has, and today that complacency is showing up. The way
right,
the governments worked. I mean, there were always corrupt elements. There were
right,
always powerful people. There was always a measure of what happens now. What's happened now is that it's gone to an extreme length, extreme wealth, extreme power, extreme
right,
manipulation, extreme moral degradation. Everything has become very, before it may be nuanced, but it's really people like us that have let it go. I mean, I have to take the blame as but we just had it so fucking good. We didn't, we forgot to give it a bit of a check, you know? And we should have, I'm going to say something a bit controversial.
sure.
These nerds that run the world, they should have been bullied harder at school.
Should have kicked their ass one extra time.
Who kick
So,
their ass one extra time. So you
right,
know, because that is who's running. These are people who just never had power, never had money, never had
right,
success, and that's how it, and that's how they play it out.
right.
And
I don't know. I think after World War II, I mean, and I've read enough history books. I mean, there's always like great
don't lie,
times
you were
throughout
there.
the period. I was there when the earth cooled, so I can tell you a lot. But anyway, but I think there's been times through human history, like if you were at Alexandria when Cleopatra and them were alive, you would have been like, wow. If you were at the Great Library, if you were in Greece during the time of the gods, if you will, and what was going on there, I think they've all had their moments. I think what's happened here when Reagan became president, and I loved Ronnie. Ronnie was great, except at the end when he became a little, senile.
Hmm.
Um, but the problem is
I
when
forgot. Yeah, I forgot he had that period right at the end
yeah,
where
yeah,
he was
like the
like,
end, he
I
was a
forgot
little, yeah,
that.
a little,
Yes,
not quite right,
a
but
little. Yeah, not quite
not,
right.
not quite right in the head. But Ronnie didn't like tariffs, and there's a whole thing you can see, and he talks about why tariffs, some are good, some are bad. But so if he saw what Trump was doing, he'd have a heart attack. But Ronnie made it when they deregulated everything, and they did this, and they were like, we're gonna like go and do. They kind of made what we see today because he got rid of, let's mental institutions. Let's help homeless. It was like the Republicans are like, screw anybody that doesn't have money. So it's taken this 40 or 50 years, if you will, to get to today. But Ronnie kind of is the one who pushed us to today. Um, and the problem is that, to an extent, it helped America grow, blah, blah, blah. We talked about this today, lost dollar. The problem is that we become a society of 20 seconds. And that problem carries over to boardrooms and CEOs. So when you talk about all this, you can't run a company now longer than a minute because your shareholders watch the stock prices or Bloomberg and they look for everything. In the old days, you could run a company for 3 or 4 years, the stocks would go up and down, and we become a society of now. And that part, I think, is also hurting us. To your point, of idiots and stupid. People watch 30-second clips. They don't read a paper. They don't read a book. They don't
Yep.
read. And so that has a lot to do with it. So it makes it very difficult to have a intellectual discourse or dialogue with someone because they don't read. They're not read. I saw it on Instagram. Okay. And like, tell me more. And that's it. That's all I got. So there's no context for them.
And the relevance of like a program like this, and this is
Mhm.
not as much of a program. It's really a time for cigar smokers such as
Yeah.
yourself and myself, who, funnily enough, aren't smoking cigars today, to sit down,
Till April. Right.
and apart from the cigar you're puffing on, apart from the oils that you're absorbing and sitting in
Right.
aroma, etc., you've slowed down time, and you've got your state of mind, whether you like it or not, changes to a
Mhm.
more relaxed. It's meant to be a relaxing activity for a
Right.
reason. Is because you tone down the noise, and well, smoking on your own is very different because actually you are fixated in the cigar. And my favorite activity is I smoke a cigar and I watch a movie. Last night I
Right.
was watching a Gene Hackman movie that I couldn't
Which
really
one?
get through. It's not really interesting me. Gene Hackman's a great actor, and
Okay.
I think he plays the same person in all the movies, apart from Lex Luthor.
Right.
This was Hoosiers.
Oh, Hoosiers. That's the
Hoosiers? Is
basketball.
it
Yeah,
called?
Hoosiers. They're called. Oh, that's the basketball. That movie sucked. That's the worst movie ever.
I'm giving it its opportunity because because there's a bit of a Gene Hackman season
Right.
going on subsequent to his
Who's
death,
that?
right?
His passing. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mississippi Burning, lovely
Great.
movie.
Great. French Connection, though. That's really.
Unbelievably, I have never watched The French Connection.
You have to watch that. That is, I saw that that movie came out in 72. When I was a kid, my dad took me to go see that in the movie theater and it was rated R. And I
You
was like,
recommend it. You
awesome.
recommend it.
Oh
And
my
there's
God.
another
Yeah.
one. There's another one where there's a sort of like he's a spy listening in the sort of
It's called
Ramstein.
I think that movie's with Jane Fonda. It's not, it's either Flute or The Listener or something. That's a great
Something
movie
like
too.
this, where
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like this. That's a good movie. But my favorite activity on my own, if I'm smoking a cigar, is a
Right.
movie.
Okay.
Preferably a movie that makes me feel good. Not something that I often watch movies that I've seen before.
Right.
And I'm looking for a little bit of development or change. Um, but but when you sit in a group
Hmm.
of cigar smokers, the magic number is three.
Okay.
Um, the whole point of slowing time down is to have those reasonable, rational conversations, put the
Right.
world to right. It's called armchair philosophy.
Hmm.
I'm a physicist by my academia. I won't even say by profession.
Right.
I did a physics degree at university. What physics is perhaps one of the most relevant theoretical and applied sciences in the
Hmm.
world. The most powerful physics is mainly maths,
Right.
99% maths, but the most um, powerful part of physics is what's called armchair physics,
Really?
theoretical physics,
Okay.
physics that most you don't need to do empirical studies for. You don't need to do an experiment for. These are they're called thought experiments. They're mathematical experiments, right? And that's the most powerful. So a lot of Einstein's stuff, for example, is theoretical physics. These are theories. These are not proved. These are theories. Yes, the
Right.
theory of relativity, right? So the theory of time travel, etc. These are theories, and that's why they're called armchair physics. And the
Interesting.
reason I invoke this right now is that cigar smoking is an armchair activity. It's a
Hmm.
very armchair activity. And when we're talking about politics or philosophy, I'm not really a politician. What I like to do is just instead of playing the man, I play the ball. Some people say instead of playing the ball, man, play the ball. Instead of playing the ball, I play the man. If you know what I
Okay.
mean, I'll kick the
Sure.
man first, right? But it is an activity of gives you the opportunity to really think more than most people are thinking in the flash, flash of a moment. And that's why even conversations such as the one we're having right now, without cigars or scotch,
Right.
are very. I mean, whoever's listening, they say, right, what do people talk about when they're smoking cigars? This is what we talk about,
This is it.
really.
Yeah.
In the USA, where you smoke shit cigars, all you talk about is baseball and football.
God.
But in the developed world, in the developed world,
Okay.
and I don't mean developed economically, I mean the mentally developed world.
Well,
Can we
sure.
let's go with that. Let's go with that. So the developed world, I have just come up with a new category.
There
Okay,
you go.
on this show, in this,
Yes.
and Stephen, I know. Can I just have one moment? I know you talk quite a lot. Let me have a moment.
Please, please. Yes. Yeah. There
We
you
have just come up. We have just come up with a new paradigm. We're now no longer going to measure the world in terms of developing countries and underdeveloped countries by way of economics. We're going to measure world by mentally developed countries, spiritually developed countries,
go. I like that.
emotionally developed countries,
I like
right?
that.
And you may find, there you go, there
There you go.
you go.
Yeah, I like it there.
One of the best places in the world, apparently, to live is Sweden.
Yes, because they have meatballs.
Do you know? So I saw a documentary about ABBA once, maybe like
Yeah,
5 or 6 years ago. They
sure.
the is it Bjorn and Benny?
Just so you know, they're all
Bjorn and
named
Benny.
Bjorn. They're all named
Bjorn and
Bjorn.
Benny. No, Bjorn and
Mhm.
Benny. They were talking about the fact that they in the 70s they were
Yeah,
superstars in Sweden,
yeah,
right? Yeah, and
yeah.
they were rich, but it is very crass in that part of the world to show your wealth off. It's
Yes,
like a
not
very
anymore.
crass
But
uh, things mentioned is very crass.
yeah,
It's a very crass thing to live very ostentatiously,
right.
right? So we're talking about developed countries. Look at that emotional
Mhm.
development that like the
Yeah,
Japanese, right? I
right.
have a great fondness for the Japanese culture.
And
Yeah,
sushi.
and
Yeah.
and 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 the Chinese culture. These people are far more spiritually aware, far
Yes.
more, is not about, building the tallest building, although we can do that too.
Hmm.
It's about building the highest population integrity, if you want,
Right.
right? And I really dig that. Yeah. So I this is your show, so I guess you're going to take the credits for it. Yeah, you're going to take the
Excuse me.
intellectual capital for
This
it.
is your
Yeah.
show. It's your idea. You're the
Yeah, these are
host.
just
It's
words
my
these are
show.
just words that came out of my mouth, but they're now
Here we go. Do you want
digitally
to finish telling
imprinted.
us about
They're
Abby?
digitally imprinted, right?
Yes, for all the world,
Developed
for all of
nations are not
eternity.
economically developed nations; they're
Right.
mentally
Mentally
developed.
developed. Right. I got that. But wait, is that the whole thing about ABBA you were going to tell us? Is that you don't show your wealth? That was it?
Well, I think there's a great indication. I think, well, because we're talking about economics versus everything else.
Oh, okay.
In their
I just want to make
culture,
sure.
in their culture, in their
Yeah.
culture, the economics are not the relevant part. It's
Right.
the social emotional development.
Okay.
So that's what I was kind of like. That's what I was referencing.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
there you go. So I think cigar smokers, ones who smoke decent Cuban cigars,
Here we go.
not the sort of the new world rubbish. Uh,
Ah, okay. Yeah.
have
It's
I said
even.
that? Have I said that? Have I said that too many times on this show?
Oh, no, no, no. Can I
Have
tell
I
you the
said
fans
that?
love it?
Have I said
We get,
that?
we,
And it's not for want of trying them. I've tried. I've tried so many new world cigars. They're
it
just
can- well, December of last year, you had an orgasm over the Davidoff Year of the
over
Snake.
one
That's a
fucking
new,
cigar. Over one
but so they're not
cigar. It's
all,
like
they're
finding
not
a
all
needle in a
rubbish.
haystack.
And
It's
excuse
it's
me,
like finding a needle in a
yeah,
cigar.
okay. You
A new
also,
one.
if I'm not mistaken, push the Camacho blue, green, whatever label one that you think is also a wonderful
The
smoke. So
Connecticut. The Connecticut.
the Connecticut. So there are cigars that are New World that you do like.
You do find
You
them. You do find them, but
yeah,
you have to smoke a lot of crap. It's like digging for a diamond. You have to like
there we go.
drill 600 meters down through
Hmm.
solid rock, or you have to stand, or you have to sit in a river. Was it
Yeah.
panning for golds for
And yeah,
days and
that's
months
what
and years
child labor is for.
before you find a little a
Pibble.
glimmer? And
Yeah.
you do find them.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll be the first one to say I'm doing the hey, I'm doing the Jewish thing right now. Yeah, you do find
Oy
them. You
vey.
do find them. I'm doing the Larry David. The Larry David. Yeah,
There you go.
right.
Oy vey.
You
Yeah.
find them,
Right.
but bloody hell, you have to invest a lot of energy and go through a lot of heartfelt sorrow to find them.
But that's part of the fun of it. And
Whereas smoking a fine Cuban cigar is basically like diving into a bucket of caviar. It's
here it
like no matter
goes.
which direction you bite in, it's caviar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
That's
there's
it.
another good one. There's
Yeah, I
a
know.
few
You
narratives.
look
I
at
know we
you're
do
like
color
coming.
narratives.
Usman not being here, you're just coming up with all these. By the time Usman comes back, you're going to be, dude, do the Habanos Saturday history thing and get going. We got things. You know what? Hopefully,
It's called
he,
compensating.
I know, Bill, we have to compensate. You know why? Because we have this. And we have,
you you know what? I've been thinking you love playing that clip so much.
I do.
I'm gonna have to do another one for you. I made that, but to anyone who
Yes.
I made that
Yes.
clip.
He made that. Yes. Rizzo made our clips because
I
that
made
was
that
too.
clip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Now,
I love playing. I love the clips. I play them every now and then just because I enjoy them because it gives you that Humphrey Bogart, Maltese
okay. Let's
Falcon
have a
thing.
contract between you and me.
Okay.
Send me
Yeah.
a video of you smoking a cigar, and
Okay.
you go in that clip now.
Okay.
No, that'd
I
be quite
will.
cool,
That would be
that'd be
cool.
really quite cool because you could play it from time to time and show your friends and family. Say, listen, I'm
First of all,
also
I would
capable.
require me to have friends and family other than you and
I'm also
Usman.
well. I don't have any, so I get away with it.
No.
So the thing is
Yes, you
this, right?
do. I wrote a
No, no,
review
no,
for
no.
somebody, and that's a family thing for you.
Huh? What?
I wrote that review.
Which review?
Rough, rough. The rough review.
What are you talking? What
The
are
dog. Isn't the dog review I wrote? Didn't I write
Oh
a
yeah,
review?
yeah. No,
Yes. You have.
but I mean, actual friends,
Oh,
friends,
okay. Not
actual
not
friends.
somebody that you whatchamacallit that you what it's under contract. I got it. Okay. Anyway. So
No. I'm saying this seriously.
yeah.
Instead of playing the Usman video next time,
Okay. We'll play me. All right.
I want someone to take a very
Yeah.
nice. Well, it doesn't have to be very nice because these all go into the film noir
Yeah.
kind of mode. The sort of the Humphrey Bogart, the
Right.
detective, the Sam Spade,
I
the
love that
Maltese
stuff.
Falcon.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That reminds me. Even though this isn't film noir, this isn't
Yeah.
film noir, but this is as close to film noir as you're going to get without being film noir. I call it comedy noir. My
Mm.
favorite comedy noir.
Yeah.
Was watching it 2 nights ago. Some Like It Hot,
That's a great flick.
and it is noir. If you think about it, it's actually noir,
Yeah.
but done as a comedy.
Yeah. That was a great flick. I think that was
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe's last flick.
No, can't be. Can't
I
be.
think it
Can't be.
was.
No, can't be. Wasn't it? She was also in Blondes.
Yeah, but
Well,
I think Some Like It Hot was the last movie she made. I think the blonde one was before that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Some Like It Hot. I have to recommend to anyone
That's a
who
great flick.
is what is an outstanding cultural icon of a movie.
Yeah.
What does Jack Lemmon say? Nobody talks like that when he's doing the Cary Grant.
Right.
Impression. No, that's not Jack Lemmon. That's Tony Curtis.
Tony Curtis.
But
Yeah.
we'll put you in that kind of like if you send me a
Oh
video,
my God.
we'll put you in
All
that
right.
kind of that aesthetic, that visual aesthetic, just blowing
Aesthetic.
smoke. I think you fancy yourself as a bit of a Sam Spade character.
You guys have me as like a Bond villain because I wear my Mandarin jacket when we do these shows or a
Who
tuxedo.
is the actor in the Maltese Falcon? You know the big guy that plays the villain, the one I can't remember his name. You could be that in
I could
the
be that guy.
Maltese Falcon.
I could. Yes.
Or you could be the very shifty guy, who very, very famous actor. His name
Peter
escapes me
Lorre.
right now. Huh?
Peter Lorre.
Peter Lorre.
Peter Lorre, yes, Peter Lorre, Peter Lorre, yes, Peter Lorre. So
Yeah,
yeah, Peter
just
Lorre.
creeping around the
Yep,
corner with that accent that you can't quite place. Is it sort of like Eastern Europe?
yep,
At that time, you just anything like that was sort of like exotic, dangerous, dark. It's like
yeah,
how in the 60s and 70s, every Bond villain or any villain in any
yeah.
American movie had to have a British accent because
You
it made
had
them
it,
more
yeah,
villainous.
or a Russian accent, something. You had to have an accent. You couldn't
Yeah,
be like
it's sort
a
of
guy
like
from New
not from
York.
here, not from
Yeah,
here,
you
somewhere
can't
far
be a New
away.
Yorker. I'm a villain. I'm from New York. Give me a glass of water. Yeah, okay, that won't
Exactly,
terrify. Yeah, it
exactly.
doesn't work.
That's a different kind of villain, by the way.
That's a
It's more
different
of
guy. Yeah,
your
yeah,
your Tony
yeah. So
Soprano.
you guys, since we even when I wear my tux on the show, even the fans go,
Well,
"You're
you
still
mean
a
you
villain."
mean you mean dinner jacket? Tux
Oh, I'm
is
sorry, my dinner jacket. Yes, when I wear my dinner jacket, my formal
DJ.
wear,
Yeah.
that's my or I wear this. Even the fans will go, "Oh, look, he's still in his villain costume." And the fan go, "Look, he's wearing his Bond villain outfit." Is what you got them going. So no matter what I wear, I am the villain when I dress. Apparently, um,
Stephen,
so there you go.
you or anyone else watching the show
Yes,
who wants to get into a film noir short, just like the
yeah, yeah,
one that you played for Usman, send
right,
in your videos, send them
okay,
in,
yeah, yeah.
and you can play a compilation of cigar smokers that are watching who
Nice.
want to be in that compilation.
We're gonna
Send
look like
them
this,
in.
like this, or this.
Play the whole thing. It's too short. Play the whole thing. Play
We're
it.
gonna play both. Okay, I'm gonna play them both.
Play
Here we
it.
go, kids. So, what I want to say,
Now. I have just had a thought.
sir.
It doesn't matter who you are. The moment
Right.
you add that music, the moment you
Right.
make it film noir, whoever it is becomes a villain. I mean, if
Yeah.
you look at Usman, yeah, Usman's a pretty harmless human being, yeah. But
Right.
look at that wry smile after that.
Right. Can I say something
Every-
though? The first one that talks about the cigar that he's supposed to give the history on, he's been giving that history now for since we started the show 19 years ago. Um, I think Ramadan he invented it just so he doesn't have to do that cigar. If you change it to another Cuban, he comes on. He'll come on next week and smoke
I
cigars.
love Ramon Alones. It has
I know, and
most
now
most.
hopefully he actually does it because we keep putting it out there.
No, we'll
So
put a
at
new
some
one. We'll
point,
put a new one. We'll just do a new one now. We'll do a
yeah,
new one. But
okay.
I want you
I will do that. I usually
that.
smoke my cigars by myself, but I will find the time where I can
Well,
go and
no,
have
but
someone tell
this is
me.
the opportunity. No, this is the opportunity. But you might be wearing shorts down there, but you'll have your dinner jacket and your bow tie on, and you'll
Oh,
just
my
give
bow
that
tie.
that wry knowing
Okay.
grin that I know something that
Okay.
you don't know. You
All
don't
right.
know how much trouble you're in. That kind of
All
grin.
right. Okay.
Um,
I will do that this week,
that
I
that
think.
grin. There you go. Hold it there. You were doing it just now. You again. Look at that. Sort of like
Yeah.
I can make that into an evil laugh with the that.
I know. All right. That's the laugh we use right before we take the people out back like a horse. You know what
Here's a
I'm saying?
suggestion. The
Yeah.
other members on your team, uh, uh, uh,
Not.
Dave
Yeah,
and
Dave.
Rob. Get them
Yeah.
in. Let's put them into a film noir little collar. Let's do
Oh, a little
it. Let's
collage.
do
Yeah.
it.
All right.
Send it because you can play that on any one of your shows. By the way,
Oh,
folks,
yeah.
this is in reference to the cigar show. This is the cigar noir moments.
Right, right. I like that. That's good. That could be good. All right. well, David's on his yacht, so we can't get a hold of David now until mid-April. He's just, he can't be bothered with the poor people. So, but
Well,
I'll see Lowell Thursday on the show.
with Elon. With Elon.
He's hanging with Elon, and they're crying over the $800 billion that Tesla's lost in market value over the last 30 days. So,
Yeah, but
you
it's
know,
not real money. This is just
I
it.
know it's make believe. I know.
That's the big trick. It's not real.
Right.
It's 800. This
Make believe money.
I don't know who to strangle. It's just not real. It's not
Yeah.
real.
It's all paper. It's make believe.
Hypothetically, it's worth this.
Right.
In fact,
Yeah.
one of the smartest people in recent times, and he's not going to be around that long, is Warren Buffett, WB.
Sure.
Warren Buffett was talking about that we live in a world where real value is
Mhm.
not given the value that it was given 30 years ago. Now it's like subjective value and
Yep.
potential market value, etc., etc., etc.
There was, just so you know, to touch on that, there was an article in the FT on Tuesday that talked about Twitter, whatever it's called, back a couple years ago was worth $1 billion, and today Wall Street's valued it at 44 billion. A lot of that, I think, is because they're kissing Elon's ass and they're afraid if the dictator takes over the world that they got to make
This
sure
is
they're
the
on the right
exact
side of
same
it.
thing
So
as credit
it's
default
crap.
swaps. It's the exact
Yeah,
same
it's the
thing
same.
as
It's the same thing.
toxic
Yeah,
mortgage books.
yeah,
When you inflate values like that at
yep,
some stage, relatively soon,
yep, yeah. It's going
which
to implode.
what do you think is happening to the world? The cost of living and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
The cost of living crisis here is because people thought they were spending real value of money, which they
right.
didn't have. It was all a
It's make
joke.
believe.
It's all
Yeah,
we're all back to 1971,
yeah.
1972 again in terms of value, etc. Except the prices don't reflect it. People's living reflects it.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Well, we have a
fuck
comment from a
us.
fan. Who knew? We have a comment from a fan. Who knew we had a fan? Hello, boys. Missing me? Oh, that must be Usman. Oh, missing you? Oh, here, let me show you how much we're missing you, Usman, because this will be fun just for me. There we go. That's how much we miss you. We're still waiting for that cigar history.
You could
So,
just come on the
and he
show
said,
instead of typing. You could
yeah,
just.
yeah, you could just come on the show instead of just typing. I mean, oh, hilarious, hilarious. Yeah, he can't come on the show apparently. His wife won't let him. You got to do what the wife says, and the Viagra. So, he'll come on. He'll be here in 2 weeks. Yeah, we miss you too,
I
Usman. He
believe
goes,
he's
I miss
probably
you
broken.
guys.
Has he broken his fast? I don't think he's
Yeah,
broken his
I don't
fast.
know. We could ask him. Have you broken your fast? He's typing, and I
I
just read
I
his
think he's
types.
probably on the cusp. I think he's possibly on the
He's on
cusp
the
of
cusp.
breaking his fast.
We missed the
Anyway,
big guy
anyway,
too. Oh wait,
anyway.
he says I'm about to break. He's about to break the fast. So isn't enjoy your fast. We miss you too. We can't wait to
And
see you the first of April.
as
That's punishment.
punishment, we're going to change the video. As punishment, we're going to change the video.
Yeah. I'm about to break my fast, boys. Okay.
You
Well,
know
we
what?
miss
I'm going
Mr.
to send
Osman.
you
Yeah.
me in film noir mode. I will go into
Okay.
film noir mode. Right?
Keep your pants on though. So I'm just saying. Keep it
Well,
professional.
you wouldn't
All right,
know.
fair
I
enough.
could be sitting here. I
Yeah,
could be sitting here in shorts right now. I'm not. Look, you
that's
can
true.
see.
I know. Okay. Well, look
But
at you.
yeah. But some of us put our shirt tie on. Actually, none of
All
us.
right.
But
Mr. Osman is going to go break his fast. It was good to hear from him. So that was very nice. So there you go. So Usman will be back the first Saturday in
and look at
April.
you. You're encouraging him. Love you, man. I would say,
Okay.
what the fuck are you
All right, here we
doing?
go.
Love you, man. You're just
Okay.
encouraging. You know what?
Here we
That's
go.
called bad parenting. That's bad parenting. That's basically someone taking the piss, someone
Yeah,
taking all the liberty, and you say, "Oh, but we love you. We love you." I
we do
say,
love
"I
him though.
hate you.
Okay,
Get
you
back on
hate him.
here."
That's true. But it is a religious thing. So I mean, as much whether I believe or don't believe in whatever, you have to respect that he's doing the fasting thing. You're doing it. You're fasting.
Here I
You're
am.
not putting anything to your lips. So yeah, so you got to respect that. So you got to love him for that. So it's
And
like,
here's a
okay.
cigar. The fact that it's not lit is it.
Yes, I know. Wait. Here he says, "I know you miss me, Riza. Say whatever you want."
I do.
He said, "We all both miss them, of course." I can only keep playing these clips of him for so long when people are going to be like, "Where the hell is this
Well,
guy? We
Usman, your
made him up."
punishment is no more of your clips. That's your punishment. They're gonna have to be replaced with other people's clips.
Oh my God,
That's the
this is going to
punishment.
be great. Yeah,
Listen,
that'll be the punishment.
So as I'm watching, was it
Hoosiers with Gene
Hoosiers,
Hackman, sure.
Hoosiers? When you misbehave on the basketball pitch, on
Yeah,
the basketball court, or on the
court,
football pitch, or in the
sure.
ice hockey rink, you're
Ring,
sent
right?
to the bench.
To the penalty box. Yes.
Right. So there's a penalty for not coming on at there's a penalty. You can't
Right.
just carry on skating around the ring. If you're out of the game, you don't just do circuits around the ring. You go and sit on the bench. Now he's going to go and
Sure.
sit on the bench. That means that video will be altered and replaced.
Uh-oh, this is going to be good. Can't wait to see how we alter and replace this. Right now, you have the evil, like a cartoon character with the mustache, right? So that's too funny.
Dick Dastardly from Wacky Races. You know, that was basically a Terry Thomas character.
Oh, okay.
Do you know who I'm talking about? You remember the
Yes,
Wacky Races?
I knew the
Penelope
wacky racers.
Penelope Pitstop.
Yep. I was thinking of more Dudley Do Right.
Dastardly, and Muttley.
Yes, that was from Dudley Do Right, though.
Yes, you're right. I'm confusing two Penelope. That was Tales of Penelope Pitstop with the hooded claw,
Right.
and there was Dastardly and Muttley from Wacky Races. Stop the pigeon! Stop the pigeon!
Yeah.
Stop the pigeon! You're very
This
focused.
is so I am because Usman said to you for you to need more creative stuff, and also you need more videos of me. He's calling your bluff. I
Well,
love
one
it.
of the advantages of sitting
Like
on
a
the
live
bench
show.
is you can. One of
Yeah,
the advantages of sitting on the bench, you can hurl insults
the other team.
at the players
Yeah,
because
that's
you're
true.
on the
That's what
bench.
he's doing. Yeah,
Get back in the game. Get back in the
that's right.
game, and let's see what happens. Get back in the
So
game.
when you break fast now, is it like a religious thing where you have to watch our show, or is he gonna like? Do they pray? What do you do when you break fast? Do you watch our show? Because to me,
Well,
that would be like an all-time thing.
typically, I wait for the clock to like eager
Yes, of
anticipation,
course you
and
do.
then you're
Yes.
technically. I wouldn't say technically. I think it's more of a cultural thing. You break it with a date because this is the tradition in our
Oh,
religious culture. A date you
right,
break it with. But I get carried away. I'll have 10, 15 dates. I just keep eating dates. I love dates. Yeah,
right, right.
sugar.
I
It's a
thought you
big.
meant
It's
people.
a very big sugary hit at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And then you have your sort of like, depending on which culture you're in, you have if you go to Saudi Arabia, there'll be different snacks. If you go to Pakistan, there'll be different snacks. If you go to
Okay.
Indonesia, there's everyone. And
Small
then
children. Yeah.
I just go do my prayers, my sunset prayers, Maghrib prayers.
Okay.
uh and then after that,
Cigar time. I was gonna say, there you go. So, well, by the
actually, you know
way,
what I'm missing, so
what are
I'm
you
going to
missing?
mention this on a cigar show.
Yeah.
And let me give you a disclaimer. I'm going to talk about a very bad activity, which is
Sure.
not the same as cigar smoking. It's
Sure.
not the same. I feel like
Sure.
a cigarette from time to time.
That's disgusting. That's terrible. I will say,
Casually.
yeah, I've never smoked a cigarette, but no, I can't do that. But I will say, Usman just said that you should be grateful because he's giving you these next couple of weeks and the last couple of weeks that you can all this energy that it's you can be just you and he doesn't have to get interrupted for his five
I'm
minute
just me
spiel.
anyway. I'm just
I
me
know. I
anyway.
was gonna say you're gonna start singing. I want to be me. Anyway, so no, but that's I see. I think that's interesting. I like the fact that our
What, the
show.
cigarettes?
No, not serious. That our show has three different time zones and different religions and different this. It shows the world that everyone can come together. Look at that. Who knew? So there you go.
He has to disown. I just saw his message. He has to disown me for smoking cigarettes. Can I say something?
That's true.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Because of Stephen, you and I have. I don't know if Usman has this as well, but these film noir movies that we like, yeah, right?
Yeah.
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 And I was going to mention another one actually, Casablanca, because
Oh, that's a great flick.
in my head, I live in that kind of Rick's cafe environment, sort of like
Right.
a sort of Middle Eastern cafe with sort of jazz music playing as well, and sort of like
Right. Right.
dodgy characters sitting in alcoves in smoke, and that smoke is normally cigarette smoke, and sort of like this cigarette just hanging there. It's not the activity of cigarettes really.
Right.
It's the ambiance that goes with it. Sort of like a dark alleyway and you're smoking a cigarette leaning against a wall kind of thing. You know what I mean? And there's sort of
You
like
do it with a cigar.
dangerous. You can't do. You see, that's exactly it. Now we're getting to the nub of it. Cigar smoking is not a casual activity. It's a
No,
sophisticated
that's true.
activity.
It's not. Well, no, you talk about those
It's not.
mini cigars. That's like, yeah, that's a casual activity. That's not even
Yeah,
like
no,
smoking a
no, no.
cigar.
It is a casual activity when you smoke shitty New World cigars in the USA because
There
they're
we go.
shit. They're only like $2 cigars. You could drop them, yeah,
Oh,
no big
my
deal, right? But when you're
God.
smoking
Yeah.
fine quality Habanos cigars,
Yes.
Cuban cigars,
Sure.
no, no, to make a serious point, you're expending
Yeah.
money, you're expending
Hmm.
time. It's not a
Hmm.
casual activity by any means.
Right. But
We're
wait a minute. When I
attending.
smoke this, when I smoke this here, I'm going to plug Fuentes. Not that I want to, but when I smoke the Fuentes God thing here, Lost City, yada yada, blah blah blah. Ooh, this is fun. Anyway, um, this is expensive. This is like smoking a Cuban. It
But that's
costs the
not
same.
that is an example of great marketing. It's just fluff.
Yes.
It's
Oh, I
absolute
know it is.
fluff
And
marketing.
can I tell you though, I bought this on a whim, and I enjoyed these. I became a thing of five, and I actually enjoyed them. They're like smoking a Padron 1926. So I mean, they're a very good smoke. So I enjoy those,
Someone,
but
someone,
nothing.
someone, someone, someone sold you a Ford Taurus with leather seats.
No, I can tell the difference. I smoke Cubans. I know I can tell the difference, but we all
I'm
know,
telling you,
Mike.
I'm telling you that that
Yeah,
is a Ford
yeah,
Taurus with leather seats.
that's fine, and but it's
That's
okay
like that's like
because
that's like the dealer
there you go.
saying, "Oh, this is very high end. It's got leather seats there.
I got through my
Look,
wholesaler, so
look,
I
there's a
paid Jew
tag that says
prices.
real leather," and you go, "Oh,
I know. Yeah. But
oh
I got
yeah."
them through my wholesaler, so I paid Jew prices, which is how I like to do it. But we all know my favorite New World cigar, CAO Brazilian Amazon, at $5 a stick, and I'm very content with that. And I don't, I get great smoke.
It's not $5 a stick. It's $5 a shtick.
Yes, I get to. Sorry, I didn't know we were doing Yiddish today. It's a shtick, everybody. So you too can enjoy your shtick. So
Only because I'm heavily influenced by people around me, and lately it's the Larry David kind of influence. Because
you were hanging out with a guy named Ruben the other day. How'd you? That's as Jewish as it
Ruben.
gets.
You know, Ruben. Now, Ruben is. I haven't met Ruben in person, right? Ruben is
Oh,
ostensibly a cool dude. He's the chap who flew in from Miami to see Usman.
oh, very
Yeah,
nice.
people, that's Ruben, yeah.
Okay, Ruben's at
And
Landsman. Just so we're
and
clear. Ruben's at
Ruben,
Landsman.
and you need to connect with Ruben actually. Connect
Okay,
with Ruben because Ruben is in Miami.
Ruben, make a phone call. We'll
And
connect.
we were just chatting. I think it was yesterday before. He was sending videos of his balcony in Miami.
Oh, I got
I
nervous when you
thought,
say sending
you
videos. Go ahead.
bastard. And as a result, and
Yeah.
subconsciously, there's a subconscious thing going on here. That reminded me. Last night, late last night, at about 12:30, I started watching one of my favorite movies, the Miami Vice movie.
The Miami Vice movie sucked. It was
It's
the
no, it
worst.
didn't suck
It
because
sucked. There we go.
Michael Mann has absolutely caught that Miami vibe. I mean, that's what Miami feels like.
Yeah, but just watch the one with Don Johnson and the guy with three
That's
first
what
names.
Miami should feel like. But
Right.
what they did was like they caught, and I really like that sort of like late night, sort of like lights and sort of like that mixture of culture. It's a real in a different planet, in a different
Yeah.
world, in a different time zone. I live in Miami. I'm that kind of person. I'd love
Right.
to just live there and just sort of like what they call
You'll
me.
be
They
you'll
call
be bored
me.
of you'll be bored in Miami in 6 days, maybe a
I
month.
would. I love Miami. I love Miami.
I live there. It's not that exciting.
It's very.
You can't go to South Beach every day.
We
I mean,
don't
you
go to
can.
we don't go to parties to have fun. We take the party with us. We are the
There we
party,
go.
right?
Oh my
Okay.
God. Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you have the ability to exude a certain amount of energy, Miami is the perfect mirror for that energy. It's
Right.
like a place where you give the energy out and it comes reflecting back to you.
So, and when the hurricane comes, it wipes it all away.
I've been there in a hurricane, not a major hurricane. The first time I went to Miami, there was some sort of tropical hurricane. There's like 2 feet, maybe 3 feet of rainwater on Saturday night, standing rainwater, and the next
Mhm.
morning you wouldn't know that it rained. It was like that.
Yeah.
Um, Brickell Avenue, Collins
Sure.
Avenue.
Sure. All my
Um,
people live on Collins Avenue. What are you kidding?
yeah.
Darling, let's have some
Don't
bagels.
I know that? Don't I know that? Right? Yeah. And one of my favorite places to eat was Jerry's Fine Diner, which doesn't exist anymore
Exist anymore. And there, you Wolfies used to be there. In fact, I used to go to a hotel back in the day and have a steak dinner and watch Jackie Mason perform
at
in on
there
Collins
live.
Avenue. Yeah, on Collins Avenue, at one of the hotels.
Was
I'd
it
go.
Delano's by any chance?
It might have been. I don't remember. This is going back into the '80s, and I remember watching Jackie Mason perform.
The 1980s.
The 19, yes, not the year 80, but this is in the 1980s, Collins Avenue. I can even tell you the people I would go with because I have a photographic and pornographic memory. And I was like, yeah, no, it's good. So I was like, oh, and I remember seeing Jackie Mason, and I was like, wow. And then a couple of years later, I saw him on Broadway. He was doing the same show, but I got to see him on Broadway. So I was like, very cool.
So I need to connect you to
Ruben,
this splendid chap, Ruben. Ruben's
right?
in Miami. Now,
Yeah.
Ruben is slightly different from your American stock in the sense that he smokes Cubans, and
And
has a
cigars
fine array
sometimes
of
too.
Cubans. He knows his stuff,
Mhm.
and
Cool.
intellectually, I don't know. Who knows? If you're in Miami, you must go and say hello, hi.
Yeah, we go there every now and then.
Um, no, but I'll connect you up on Instagram.
Sure.
I can't remember what Ruben's Instagram account is, but I will
I'm
send
sure
it
you'll
to you.
find it. Yeah,
I'll
that or you
find it.
just do it on WhatsApp like we usually do to people.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
fans are
yeah.
thrilled by this
So,
conversation.
so
So,
look. This is
yeah,
another part of these cigar conversations. This is another part. I
yes.
mean, you get it in other areas of life, right? But what we do, we start connecting up the dots. Where
Yep.
is another, another brother of the leaf, etc. Oh, that's a good person to smoke with. He lives in
Yep. Yep.
Paris. He lives in Miami. So I've got a little tiny delegation of people coming over from Switzerland,
Right.
um, to see me in the beginning of April, first week of April.
Right.
Um, and there is this thing. Um, so this is you'll understand this, Stephen, more than most people understand this. People, we are not meeting for business. We are meeting as fellow
Me.
cigar smokers. There is, I hate to use this word, but there's a sort of love, affection,
Hmm.
a sort of like a longing to smoke with really cool people. Cool.
Right.
That is a more powerful, more nutritious form of social networking than everything else put together. Because
True.
what normally happens is when you smoke, you break bread, you
Hmm.
have a drink, you meet people, and you already know, like from the cigar they smoke. I mean, if they're smoking, like I don't know, a shitty New World cigar, that says something about.
Ah!
If they're smoking,
Oh my God. Go ahead.
I don't really mean this in a bad way, but New World cigars are shit. But I don't mean it in a bad way.
No, no, you don't. He needs it with all the love he can muster up. Davidoff,
Listen, how much
thanks
time
for.
we got? How much time we got left on this planet? Between 0 and 50 years.
Yeah, there you
Yes,
go.
I could be
Pretty
dead
much.
today or in 50 years' time, right?
Yeah, I'm going for
Let's
50
just,
years.
yeah, we are customers, we are product testers, we are people who enjoy those. So I can totally appreciate that someone could smoke a $2 stick and in that
Right.
moment enjoy themselves.
Right.
I mentioned to the retailer of EGM cigars here in the UK, lovely guy Giuliano. I mentioned
Right.
to him, listen, I don't think too much of the cigarello. I didn't think too much. It was
Right.
it's like it was unsmokable, it was too bitter. He said, no, no, I enjoyed it quite a lot. To be honest, you should try it with coffee. And I said to him, okay, great.
Hmm.
Now maybe I was being a bit close-minded. Maybe if I paired it with a coffee, it will
Right.
mask the flavor of that terrible cigar, so I might enjoy it.
Oh my God.
Um,
Okay. Well, so much for those two sponsors, Davidoff and EGM. Well, guys, it was good knowing you.
It's
But
not.
anyway,
No, 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 no. But if I don't give
I
that honest feedback, yeah, you're
I
not going
agree.
to get.
Yeah.
It's just to do with. I don't believe in this. If you don't like it, don't say anything about it. If you don't like it,
Right.
say
Say something.
you
Yeah.
can
Have
you
them
could
change
say
it.
it politely. You could say it
Right.
politely as opposed to saying it,
New World cigars are shit.
annoyingly. And I choose annoyingly.
Yeah, I know we do. But the interesting thing is, a lot of people, which we know in the industry, watch our show. So when we do actually give comments, they actually do take them to heart, which is very interesting. So
I
they do like, oh,
yeah.
that's interesting. So it's an interesting thing.
Okay. There are
That's it.
certain
That's all you got,
Davidoffs that are really good. I'm
guys.
beginning to
You're
have
the
to.
snake.
I'm beginning to have to no more than just that. When I say Camacho, I mean Camacho is a Davidoff brand, even though
Because you
they've bought it
Davidoff,
off
I know.
someone. It's they've
Right.
taken over the thing. Um, I've had one really good Arturo Fuente. That was the UAE edition with the green
Okay.
cross.
Oh,
Was it
very
Opus?
nice. Okay.
It was an Opus X.
Sex. Okay. Yeah.
It was called a Desert Rose or something. I think I've mentioned this one before. You
Right.
find them. You will find
Yep.
from time to time something that jumps out, which is well above the sort of the noise.
Right.
It's just really hard, and I can't for the life of me, I can't work out what this magic trick is that they have in Cuban cigars. When I smoke a Cuban cigar, 95% of the time, this is my opinion, 95% of the time, I could tell you it's Cuban. No, maybe
Right.
not 100%. Maybe I could be fooled. I'm not a world-class expert. There is a sophistication of flavor and everything. There is something much more. We've talked about this before, like perfumes. You know what a cheap
Right.
perfume is. You know what an expensive perfume is. Nuanced. It
Right.
changes. It
Right.
develops. 5 minutes later, it smells different. 10 minutes later, it smells different again. There's nuances. There's layers. There's intensity of oil in a perfume. Therefore, there's intensity of oil in a Cuban cigar. And I really quite can't understand. These are still tobacco leaves. They're still
Right.
grown in the soil. How are they so substantially different from everywhere else in the world? And there's got to be some value added product, and I mean natural added product. Maybe it's
Right.
volcanic ash from 60 million years ago that's underneath the
Right.
Cuban island base, which hasn't translated to any of the other islands. There's something there in the soil that does it.
Let me ask you this. I thought about this morning, actually, when the puppy and I were going for our run, chasing people because she likes to eat people. Is it the mystique of the Cuban cigar more than a New World cigar or a non-Cuban? Is that maybe why?
I think
Is
there's
it
a lot
or
of. I think you may be pointing to this. There is a lot of dressing up. I can
right?
agree. There's a lot of dressing up. Oh, it comes in a beautiful box, and oh, look at the
Yeah,
band, and oh, 27 varieties. There is a lot of dressing up, right?
right.
But underneath, I still believe Cuban cigars are wearing a G-string and suspenders, and
Okay.
and other Cuban and non-New World cigars are not. There is
Right.
something still of substance underneath all the dressage,
Mhm.
and that is if you smoke naked Cuban cigars, right, without a band on or anything like
Right.
that. Straight away, there is on lighting up, there is some form of aroma burst. There's some form of
Yeah.
signature, whether it's a floral, whether it's leathery or cedary, or sugary, or uh, coffee. Just a bit like your wine tasting profiles. With
Hmm.
Cuban cigars, there are tasting profiles. Now, the litmus test is if you sit down with New World cigars, most New World cigars, right?
Hmm.
If we're going to talk scientifically, most New World, and try and hit those nuances, I think you'd be hard pressed to find them,
I agree with
Stephen.
that. Yeah. No,
You'll
I agree.
get you'll get
Yeah.
wood. You get wood every time. It's either
Yeah.
very woody or not very woody.
Right.
Yeah, sort of like
Yeah.
a dead, literally like smoking a coffin. Yeah,
But
it's just
it's Yeah, it's like
you-
it's like I've said though in the past. When I want smoke, and because most like the CAO has a little bit of flavor to it, and I enjoy it. My Brazilian Amazon. When I smoke that, I get smoke. Like it looks like me and Smokey the Bear are going to go start a forest fire. When I smoke a Cuban, not as much smoke, but more flavor. So I think it's just maybe it's the way they roll them. To your point, it could be whatever's in the soil. But there's something, and so
I'll give you another recommendation on that note. Roy
sure,
Sommer, who's the head of Davidoff marketing here in the
right,
UK
right.
and Europe, he might like this. I don't know if he's listening, right?
Say
Try
what?
the Zeno. Zeno is a very good cigar as well. Zeno is by
Never been a fan. Tried the Vino, hated it.
which one?
I got to be 20 years ago. I tried like the Robusto, and I didn't like it.
Okay, so Zeno is rebranded as
Okay,
of 6-ish, years ago. They
okay,
have they don't have a very attractive band. It looks
all right,
very cheap, but that kind of means in this particular instance
all right,
is that it's not oversold. Right? There are
okay,
some brands that are overselling themselves. Oh, we've got beautiful band, beautiful
right,
packaging. Packaging and band doesn't make a cigar. It
right,
adds to a cigar that's good. It can take it to a high level, but it doesn't make a crap cigar into a good cigar.
right.
Okay, so the Xenos, I'll send you a link over. Maybe Usman will be nice enough to send you a link over.
Sure.
Xeno range is relatively mild. It's can be slightly creamy.
Hmm.
Comparable for me, comparable to the Camacho Connecticut, which is part of the same family of cigars. Xeno cigars are also made by Davidoff.
Davidoff, right? That's after Zeno, Davidoff. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
so
that,
the common thread here, which I think Roy would like, is the ones that I actually do like
or Davidoffs.
are in one way or another Davidoff
Yeah,
disguised or overtly Davidoffs.
right,
There is something to be said about that.
Now for Davidoffs, I like the Winston Churchill late evenings. I enjoy
The
those are
late hour,
literally
the
my
late hour, late
late hour.
hour.
Those are my other go-to cigars. I literally have a humidor filled with Churchill size of those, and those are like after a big heavy meal because they'll have some kick to them. I like to sit outside and light one of those, and I just enjoy it. It's just
I
like I'm in
I I
heaven.
I think that in terms of accessibility for US market, I think the
Mhm.
closest you're going to get to smoking Cubans without smoking Cubans
Right, at
are
Ruben's
probably going
house.
to be
No, I'm just kidding.
without no Davidoff cigar. Yeah, or
I agree.
Ruben.
Ruben's house has all the Cubans you need. No, but the Davidoffs I like. But when I smoke the reason I smoke the CAO, because someone asked me this the other day, and I was like, the reason I smoke it is because it's $5 a shtick, as you put it.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is, if I get interrupted and I have to stop, I don't have a heart attack. Now, if I'm smoking a Davidoff, I need 2 hours. And I have to make sure I'm going to get uninterrupted where I have to put it. I don't want to put it down. I want to be not bothered. So there's no phone, no nothing. So that determines like later in the evening is a Davidoff. During the day, if I'm smoking, it'll be the Brazilian only because if I get interrupted, I'm not like, oh my God, that's $45 out the window. So it's very much like that. So
Yeah, but
the way I,
I would say to you, in a humble capacity,
yeah,
since you are much older than I am,
there we go.
that if you sit down and smoke a cigar, you should smoke the whole cigar, or
I do.
not
I
sit
always smoke
down
my
to.
whole cigar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. So don't. So like if it's a $20 steak or a $200 steak, that you've not really bought a cigar. What you've done is you bought a time slot in your life
Right.
to
I bought
smoke
a
that
mini
cigar.
holiday.
You
Yeah,
bought a
that's how
mini
I look at
holiday.
I bought my cigars are my mini holiday, and usually I listen to music or I just chill and just enjoy the outdoors, and think of ways to take over the world with Pinky and the Brain. But that's it, because it's like I don't mean to bore you, and
No,
that's
no,
kind
no,
of what
no.
I do. And sometimes if something comes up like an emergency, it's like, oh, I got to go do this, and I can't, to take it inside, so it's a pain. But for the most part, I'd say 99% of the time I'm out. But the late evening ones, I like smoking after a big heavy dinner because then I smoke that and then I'm just good for the night. Like I don't want to do anything. I don't care. The world could blow up after that. I'm like, I'm good. The CAO after that, I'm still ready to go do stuff. But the late evenings just done, which I like. I like that feeling of just I'm done. It's 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'm done. And I like that. It's just a good, nice way to end the day or the evening, if you will. So seriously, you're
I
playing
was
around
looking
with
for something else
backgrounds.
actually. I was looking for something else. I'm going to add something else. I
Okay.
have a little bit of fun.
Okay. Fans are fascinated by this. I can tell. There you go. That's your regular background. RZA realized that there's a setting button that you can change backgrounds. That's your
I
apparently
mean,
your
Tom Tom. That's
1960
Tom
basement.
Tom. No,
Was
Tom
that
Tom.
Tom Tom's? Kind of hard to
And
tell.
I'm going to do another one now. I
All
enjoy
right.
this kind of stuff.
Oh my
Okay.
God. So what on the podcast, people are going, what are they doing? Watch on YouTube. You can see what Riz is doing. It's very exciting. So what are your plans? Today is the 22nd. Wait, 8 more
Today,
days. Yeah.
today, I'm going to
Yeah.
give a shout out to
Sure.
someone who's not here. I'm going to give a shout out to the person that got me into cigars, my father. This is my father's birthday, 78th birthday today,
Oh wow.
March the 22nd. And he hasn't been at least on this planet for the last 25 years.
Oh my goodness.
So at this stage, my father is cruising through interdimensional universe, cruising past the stars in a new form of energy.
Sure.
And he's the one who got me into cigars. And if I don't mention him today, I don't know who I'm going to mention.
There you go. That is very nice to your father. If I was having a scotch right now, we would go Geo to your father.
That's right.
So there you
Thank
go,
you.
Geo to your father. But I have this, and I'm not telling anybody what's in this, so for all you people know it could be scotch. So Geo to your father.
That's
So
very kind of you,
there,
sir. Thank
there
you.
you go. There you go. Of course, that's the best way. My grandfather's the one who got me into cigars, so I know what that's like. I think that's the perfect
My
thing.
father's been gone for 25 years.
Wow.
And your grandfather has been gone for how long?
What am I now? Huh? So he died probably about
160.
30, about 200,000 years. Yeah. No, he's probably been gone about 35, 40 years.
My God. I
Yeah.
don't have anything to toast him with, but
That's
San
okay. Good.
Pellegrino.
Yes,
These these
Pellegrino.
are these these are to the men who are real men,
Yeah.
who unknowingly set us on this path.
Correct.
And we don't know who we're setting on what path. I hope it's a decent path.
I hope it's a good
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
So no, my grandfather, and this is where I learned a lot of my old school. It was very old school. We'd sit for dinner at night at their table, and he would have his pinky ring, his mustache would be waxed, and he was dressed impeccable.
Mm.
And when we would go to dinner at his house, we had to dress impeccable. And if we went out to dinner, we had to dress impeccable. And he's the one that would order for the ladies. And then I remember I was like 7 or 8 years old, and he said, we're at the club, and he ordered. And the next time we went to the club, he said, did you hear what everybody wants? And I said, yes. He goes, then order for them. And I did exactly what he did. So he would call all the ladies my dear. And he said, so his wife was my dear. My mother was his dear. Blah, blah. So he said, this beautiful woman would like that. And I did the same thing at 8 years old. And the maitre d' who knew our family was chuckling because I'm like, this beautiful woman, my mother,
Well, what an
my grandmother,
education.
my aunts. Yeah. So
What a
I
classy
learned,
education.
yeah, you learn to stand up when the women enter the room, the chairs, the doors, how to walk on this, everything. And I still that to this day. And I know people say, oh, it's antiquated, it's old school. Right. But you know what? There's something about chivalry and there's something about being old school. I'm good with that. And I don't care if it goes out of style, I'm sticking with it.
You can't help being what you are. If a different
Right.
generation doesn't appreciate it, that's their problem, isn't it?
Well,
You don't have to appreciate what they are. They
right.
don't have to appreciate what
That's
you
right.
are. You have a set of experiences. There you go.
The younger generation can always go play my favorite game, which is go hide and go fuck yourself. So that's how I look at the younger generation because they know nothing. And that includes the leadership right now in the United States. But we won't get into that. And apparently you're mayor in London. So there you go. So yeah, so old school. There's something to be said for that old school. Do you notice this next time you're out and whoever's listening, when you get the door for somebody, no, for a female, when you hold a door, watch how they go to grab the door because they think you're going to, maybe not in London, they slam it. In America, I hold the door and women will reach out and I'll go, I literally said this the other day to some lady, I go, lady, my foot, my body is against the door. Do you think I'm going to dematerialize? And she just looked at me and she smiled. I go, go. And she had like a few kids and her husband just started to chuckle. And I was like, it's okay. There are gentlemen left in the world.
You're very passive aggressive. You like to pick a fight.
If I could have been like, get in the cave, woman. No, but it's sort of like people think and they don't. They just, they're so used to people being assholes, even driving. I like to drive fast. I like to do things, but hey, if you need to go, go. I don't care. It's like, I'll get there. It's just a different world. That's what Cigar does for me. It brings me back to the old world. I like the old world. When I talk the old world, I'm talking about 3 minutes after the earth cooled. But yeah, I like the old world. I like back in the day.
We've put the world to right again at the end of the show. There you go.
That's as we always do. So we should end on that high note, I think. And then next week,
on that high note, and look forward to some new footage, film noir footage.
Yes. So new footage. Now next Saturday is the last Saturday of the month, which is, if you will, the last Saturday of Ramadan, which means the following Saturday will be the first Saturday of April. And the crew, all three of us will be back with new, hopefully, Usman will actually give a cigar history thing for once. And there you go. And so next week, it'll just be us two. There you go.
I'll do it.
There you go. And the next week, it'll just be Riza and I, unless we have any special guests and the fans. And we want to thank you for all watching and listening. We'll rebroadcast this Sunday morning very early. So the people in the Middle East that they've told me that they've got nothing to do all day because of Ramadan on a Sunday, we're going to put this out about 2 or 3 in the morning Eastern time. So you guys will have this to watch if you'd like. And then we'll get back on the regular schedule in April. And that's it, my friend.
May I say something in closing?
Please.
Take care of yourselves and each other.
I just threw up in my pants. Everybody, don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you all next week. And before we go, let me just leave you with this.
Thank God that's over again.